Let's handle topic 5, business communication skills, which is written communication. Yeah, so in this video, we are going to introduce written communication. Something written is something that is put down. Maybe it's on paper, like using ink, or something that is typed. That's something that is written. So written communication is used every day in organizations, and it's in form of things like letters, memorandum, reports, notices, emails, and all that. And the secret to good writing is to use plain language, as if you're having a conversation. Like, you do not have to bring in complicated words that most people are not familiar with. So you're just supposed to use plain language just for someone to understand what you're communicating. So let's look at the advantages of written communication. First is that it is speedy. It saves time when many persons are to be contacted at the same time. For example, sending an email, you can do mail merging, and then you send it like to very many people. So it is speedy, it saves time. Or like if you want to communicate about a meeting and then you just put a notes on the notes board, everyone will be able to read it. Then checked for accuracy, which may not always be the case with verbal communication. Like verbal communication, you can always correct a mistake, but after making it. Like you first say it, then you be like, I'm sorry. Yeah, but then for written communication, maybe in case you're typing something, you'll be able to identify the mistakes and then you correct them. So there is that room for correcting errors. Then another advantage is that messages usually or can be recorded. They can be recorded, and that record can be used for future reference. For example, if you send an email, that record will always be there, that you've ever sent that person an email and the time and all of that. Just in case they deny, you will be having evidence. So they can be used for future reference compared to something that is verbal. Because for verbal, you just said it. Someone can say, you didn't tell me, and you won't have anything to say to them. So for written communication, they keep a record for future reference. Then another advantage of written communication is that it is suitable for both simple and complex messages. For example, it is useful when explaining complex matters which could be difficult for the recipient to understand immediately. Like if you write something down, someone can be able to read the thing again just in case they didn't understand on the first reading. Yeah, which is not the same case with verbal communication, because if they don't understand, it means that you'll have to repeat and say it again. But the other one, they can just read it again. So it is suitable for both simple and then complex matters. Then another advantage is that it's useful for contracts, especially letters and then reports, as they can act as evidence. When you're making a contract with someone, evidence is supposed to be written, not verbal. Yeah, agreement and all that, they're supposed to be written. Then another advantage is that it is reliable to transmit lengthy statistical data. For example, calculations and then graphs. You cannot explain a graph to someone like using words without something that is written. So it is reliable to transmit statistical data or something that involve calculations, graphs, and all that. Then the last advantage is that it is useful when dealing with any matters where it is important that a written record is kept. For example, answering queries or making agreements. So when you're making an agreement or signing a contract, it's supposed to be written. Yeah, so those are some of the advantages of written communication. So everything that has an advantage, of course, has a disadvantage. So we are going to look at the disadvantages of written communication. So the first disadvantage is that it usually takes some time for the message to arrive. If you're sending a letter, let me say by email, it will take some time to arrive. If the person does not have maybe network, if they do not have data, they will not receive it immediately. Yeah, so it takes some time for them to receive the message. If you're sending it by border, still it will take some time for them to receive the message that you sent. Another disadvantage is that it's often costly to arrange, like in terms of time and then money. Because if it's going to be written, you need a paper, you need a pen, they cost money. Then you need time to write it down. So it's costly in terms of time and then money. Then if it's supposed to be typed, you need a laptop. Yeah, and then time to write it. Then even data maybe to send the email. So it's costly compared to verbal communication. Then the last disadvantage is that there may be leakage of the material before time, causing disruption in its effectiveness. Like written communication always leaks before it is actually delivered to where it's going. For example, if you may be typing a termination letter for someone and then someone else sees it, they see you typing and all that, so they will get that information and then they tell someone else, things like that. So there may be leakage of the material before time, causing disruption in its effectiveness. So you're writing a resignation letter and then someone sees it, then they will tell some other person, yet you're just writing it for the future, maybe 1 month or 1 week from that particular date. So there may be leakage of the material before time, causing disruption in its effectiveness. So that's an introduction about written communication. Those are the advantages and then the disadvantages. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, share with your friends, and let's catch up in my next video.